Picture this. It is your first Monday morning after you stop working. No alarm, no email, no commute. You make a cup of coffee, sit by the window, and for the first time in 40 years, you have nowhere to be. That moment, that specific Monday morning, is what every Singaporean working today is quietly trying to buy. The question nobody can answer with confidence is, how much does that Monday actually cost? Most people guess. They say $1 million because it is a round number that sounds serious. Some say 2 million because they have heard that 1 million is not enough anymore. And almost nobody actually does the maths, which means almost nobody knows if they are on track, behind, or, and this is the part that surprises most people, significantly closer than they think. Today, I'm going to give you the real numbers. The actual monthly cost of 3 different retirement lifestyles in Singapore in 2026. How much you need in total to fund each one. And then the number that changes everything. The hidden portion of your retirement that is already being built for you, automatically, every single month inside CPF, whether you are thinking about it or not. Let us start by naming the 3 retirement lifestyles, because this is where most financial content gets it completely wrong. They talk about retirement as if it is one thing. It is not. In Singapore in 2026, there are 3 completely different financial realities that all go by the same name. The first is the basic lifestyle. This is what the Kuan School of Public Policy Minimum Income Standard Study defines as the floor. The minimum a single elderly person in Singapore needs to meet basic needs and participate in society with dignity. That number in 2026 is 1,492 Singapore dollars a month. It covers a paid-off HDB flat, hawker center meals, the MRT card, basic healthcare, and 1 regional trip a year. It is not poverty, but it is tight. There is no margin for the unexpected. A dental emergency, a hospital stay that Medishield does not fully cover, or a grandchild's school fee request. Any of those can crack a budget built this thin. The second is the comfortable lifestyle. This is what most Singaporeans who are currently working would actually recognize as retirement. A paid-off HDB flat, meals out a few times a week, an occasional taxi instead of the MRT, a hobby or two, 1 international flight every couple of years, and the ability to treat the grandchildren without doing the maths first. In 2026, that lifestyle costs between $2,700 and $3,500 a month for a single person. For a couple, between $4,200 and $5,500 combined. The third is the wealthy lifestyle. Private condominium, a car despite the COE, regular business class travel, a helper at home, and the ability to write a check for private specialist care without even checking the account balance first. That lifestyle runs between $5,000 and $7,000 a month for a single person, and $8,000 to $12,000 for a couple. Now here is the first thing almost nobody tells you. Every single one of those numbers assumes your home is fully paid off. If you are still servicing a mortgage in retirement, or if you are renting, add between $700 and $4,000 every month depending on your housing situation. That single assumption changes the entire calculation. Paying off your HDB before you stop working is not just a nice financial goal. It is the most powerful retirement move most Singaporeans can make, and it is the one that has the biggest impact on your monthly number before you invest a single dollar. So how much do you actually need invested to fund each lifestyle? The standard framework is the 4% rule. If your portfolio is large enough that 4% of it equals your annual expenses, you can live off that portfolio indefinitely. But here's the version that applies specifically to Singapore, and it is significantly more powerful than the Australian or American equivalent. In Singapore, dividends from locally listed companies, DBS, OCBC, UOB, CapitaLand Ascendas REIT, Mapletree Industrial Trust, arrive in your account at 0% tax. Singapore has no dividend tax under the one-tier corporate system. It also has 0 capital gains tax, which means the real after-tax return on a Singapore-focused dividend portfolio is meaningfully higher than the equivalent in most other developed countries. A blended portfolio of STI, ETF, and Singapore REITs is generating 5 to 5.5% yield in 2026, which means you can use a 5.5% withdrawal rate instead of 4% for the income-generating portion of your portfolio. That alone cuts the raw portfolio number you need by roughly 20% before you account for anything else. For the basic lifestyle of $1,492 a month, $17,900 a year, the theoretical portfolio needed at 4% is $447,000. At 5.5%, it drops to $325,000. For the comfortable lifestyle of $3,000 a month, $36,000 a year, the portfolio needed at 4% is $900,000. At 5.5%, it is $654,000. For the wealthy lifestyle of $6,000 a month, $72,000 a year, the portfolio at 4% is $1,800,000. At 5.5%, $1,309,000. Those numbers are the starting point. But now I want to show you the number that most financial content aimed at Singaporeans completely ignores, and it is the one that changes the calculation most dramatically. Your CPF Life payout is already a retirement portfolio. It just does not look like one because it does not sit in a brokerage account with a number you can watch move up and down. But the economic reality is identical. If you have set aside the full retirement sum of $220,400 in your retirement account by age 55, that sum compounds at 4% annually and grows to approximately $325,000 by 65. CPF Life then converts that into $1,780 a month, guaranteed by the Singapore government for however long you live. Not for 20 years, not for 30 years, for life. If you live to 94, which 1 in 4 Singaporean women today will, those payouts keep coming. At a 4% withdrawal rate, an income stream of $1,780 a month is economically equivalent to having $447,000 sitting in a private portfolio already working for you. Except it is better than that, because it cannot go to zero in a market crash. It does not require you to manage anything, and it pays out even if you live to 105. Now run that through the lifestyle numbers and watch what happens. For the basic lifestyle of $1,492 a month, CPF Life at the full retirement sum already pays $1,780. The basic lifestyle is fully covered. You need zero private portfolio for this level. Every dollar you invest privately is a lifestyle upgrade, not a survival necessity. For the comfortable lifestyle of $3,000 a month, CPF Life at FRS covers $1,780. The remaining $1,220 a month, $14,640 a year, needs to come from private savings. At a 5.5% portfolio yield, the private portfolio you need is approximately $266,000. Not $900,000, $266,000. That is the real number for a comfortable retirement at 65 in Singapore for someone who has built the full retirement sum in CPF. If you push CPF to the enhanced retirement sum of $440,800, your guaranteed payout rises to over $3,400 a month, which fully covers the comfortable lifestyle on its own. The private portfolio you need for a comfortable life in retirement drops to almost nothing. What CPF cannot fix, a few $100,000 in private savings and S-REIT dividends easily handles. For the wealthy lifestyle of $6,000 a month, CPF Life at ERS covers $3,400. The remaining $2,600 a month, $31,200 a year, needs to come from a private portfolio. At 5.5% yield, that is $567,000. Still significantly less than the theoretical $1,800,000 the 4% rule suggests when you ignore CPF entirely. This is the structural advantage that most Singaporeans are sitting on and not seeing. The system is built to handle a large portion of your retirement automatically. The private portfolio is not the whole game. It is the second half of a two-part system, and most people are playing it as if the first half does not exist. Now, let us talk about the reality gap. Because the numbers above are achievable, but the data shows that most Singaporeans are not there yet. According to the Manulife Singapore Retirement Survey, the average savings balance among pre-retirees in Singapore is approximately $423,000. The average balance among those already retired is $599,000. At the same time, the DBS Research and Sun Life data show that Singaporeans believe they need over $1 million for a comfortable retirement. That gap between what they have and what they think they need is fueling a quiet financial anxiety that shows up everywhere. 71% of Singaporeans say they are not confident they can retire when they want. 42% expect to outlive their savings. And 73% plan to keep working past the statutory retirement age, with nearly half of those doing it not by choice, but because they need the income. Here is what that data actually means. Most people who say they do not have enough have not accounted for CPF Life. They see their bank account and their investment portfolio. They forget that the retirement account, compounding quietly at 4% right now, will deliver a guaranteed monthly income for the rest of their life. When you add that to the equation, a significant number of Singaporeans are closer to a comfortable retirement than they believe. Not all of them, but more than the anxiety statistics suggest. Let us talk about the tools that move the needle fastest in 2026. The first is the CPF Special Account or Retirement Account Cash Top-Up. Up to $8,000 a year for yourself, another $8,000 for a parent or spouse, $16,000 of full tax relief annually, going straight into an account earning 4% guaranteed. For someone in the 15% tax bracket, that is a guaranteed $1,200 back on your tax bill every year, on top of the 4% return. There is no retail product in Singapore that matches that combined risk-adjusted return. The second is the HDB monetization tools that most people ignore until it is too late. The lease buyback scheme allows you to sell the tail end of your HDB lease back to the government, receive cash, and have that money channeled into your CPF Life for higher lifetime payouts. For a 4-room flat, the cash bonus is up to $15,000, plus top-ups that directly increase your monthly CPF Life income for the rest of your life. The enhanced Silver Housing Bonus, updated in December 2025, gives you up to $40,000 in cash when you right-size from a larger HDB to a 3-room or smaller, with $60,000 channeled into your retirement account, lifting your CPF Life payout permanently. The third is the Supplementary Retirement Scheme, with one deadline you cannot afford to miss. Open an SRS account before the 1st of July 2026, and your qualifying withdrawal age locks in at 63 instead of 64. 1 full year of earlier access to tax-efficient retirement income. Contribute up to $15,300 a year into SRS, invested inside the account in STI ETF, Singapore REITs, or Singapore savings bonds, and watch it compound entirely free of tax until you withdraw in retirement. At withdrawal, only 50% of what you pull out counts as taxable income. For most retirees, the effective tax rate on SRS withdrawals is between 0 and 2%. The fourth is the CPF Life Deferral Strategy. You do not have to start your payouts at 65. Every year you delay, up to age 70, increases your monthly payout by up to 7%. Defer the full 5 years, and your payout rises by up to 35% for life. Use Singapore savings bonds, T-bills, or SRS withdrawals to bridge the 65 to 70 gap, and your guaranteed lifetime income at 70 becomes dramatically higher. For someone at the full retirement sum, that shift from $1,780 at 65 to approximately $2,430 at 70 means an extra $7,800 a year, guaranteed, for every remaining year of life. And then there is the conversation nobody wants to have: healthcare. MediShield life premiums are fully paid from MediSave, which is good, but the integrated Shield plan cash component, the additional premium you pay from your own pocket on top of what MediSave covers, grows as you age. By the time you are 75, that out-of-pocket component can reach $200 to $400 a month, depending on your plan. That is a number that needs to be in your retirement budget from day one, not discovered at 72. The basic healthcare sum of $71,500 in your MediSave account is the floor. Keep it there. Do not drain MediSave for anything less than necessary. So here is the picture in full. A comfortable retirement in Singapore in 2026 does not require the $1 million that most people reference with vague anxiety. For someone who has built the full retirement sum in CPF, lives in a paid-off HDB flat, and has accumulated between $250,000 and $350,000 in private savings and S-REIT dividends, a genuinely comfortable retirement at 65, dining out regularly, traveling occasionally, helping the grandchildren without stress is achievable. The system, used correctly, is designed to get you there. The Singaporeans who will not make it are not making fewer dollars. They are the ones who spent 30 years treating CPF as a tax, never made a single voluntary top-up, never opened an SRS account, and never sat down to calculate the gap between what they have and what they actually need. Because if they had done that calculation, most of them would have discovered that the gap is smaller than the fear, and that the system, with a few deliberate decisions, closes it for them. That Monday morning with the kopi and no alarm is not a fantasy for a handful of people who earned more than everyone else. It is a maths problem. And the maths, for most Singaporeans who start paying attention now, works in their favor. Open your CPF statement tonight. Look at your retirement account balance. Multiply it by 4%. That is the passive income CPF is already generating for you this year. Then look at which lifestyle in this video you are actually trying to fund. Subtract the CPF contribution from that number. What is left is your private target. For most people watching this, it is significantly smaller than what you were afraid of. Now you have a real number. Go build toward it. If this video helped you see your retirement differently, hit the like button, subscribe, and share it with someone who is still guessing their number. See you in the next one.